All right, guys, here we are back up at the yard. Got the pressure washing equipment. Got a Kenworth. Oh, and there's Goliath. So we are just going to get all this stuff set up, and we're going to get to cleaning. All right, guys. Yeah, I got some grease on my forehead. Pretty dirty. You know, with that fifth wheel out of the way, we found a lot more dirty spots in there. We're washing a bit. Right now, Gabe's taking over for me. He's washing. Talon should be here soon. He had a small job to unload this morning over in Clayton, Georgia. And as far as I know, he's already en route home. He's gonna come over and help. Hoping by the time he gets here, we'll have most of the washing done so we can just kind of dry it off, clean, you know, do a final hand wipe on the inside of those differential housings. We're gonna have to clean the gasket surface a little bit better. There's still some silicone on there. The pressure washer took some of it off, but not all of it. But we're gonna have to clean that up real quick. And then maybe we start installing the differentials. All right, guys, so now I got the scraper, and I'm going to try to scrape most of the silicone off of the mating surface where we got to put the sealant in there. So for the moment, there's not much that Gabriel can do. Otherwise, he'll just get me soaking wet doing this. I noticed how dirty my other little trailer was. Got the pressure washer in and running. Might as well clean it too. Yeah, just look how nasty that trailer is. Things that for me to pull the pressure washer out to clean that trailer most likely wouldn't have happened, but since he's got a little bit of time to kill and the machine's sitting here, it's running, I'm just gonna do it. All right, guys, Talon finally got here today. I guess his job is done. But just as he got here, the pressure washer decided to take a crap on us. So it's running good, but the pressure regulator has now failed on it. So I don't have any more pressure coming out of it than I could with a regular garden hose. And that's just not enough to cut the grime. Luckily, we got the important parts done that we need. So we're gonna go ahead and get ready to throw one of these differentials in. Talon is prepping the gasket surfaces on the axles and the axle housing ends. I've already done the gasket surfaces on the actual center trunk surfaces. So hopefully we'll be ready to put it together pretty soon. All right, guys, we got all the surfaces prepped. I think we're ready to start putting in the differential. So Talon and Gabe are over there grabbing the engine hoist out of the Renegade trailer, so we can pick it up out of the Excursion, roll it over here, get it close to lined up at least, and then we will put the sealant on, bolt it in place. All right, guys, there we go. Got the rear end up. Gabriel is gonna unwrap it, and we'll get it in position, get the sealant on it, and try to set it in place. You guys can see we've got the inside of the rear end housings nice and clean. Cleaned all the debris off of the magnets so we can monitor any wear in the future. All right, guys, remember this stuff? Right stuff. We're gonna go ahead and put a big fat bead of it around that gasket surface so that when we get the rear end over here, we can just immediately assemble it. Which one wasn't making sealants? You sure they should test it on my
Better gasket on my car because it's leaking again.
Is it?
Thought maybe it was a tape, but it's getting worse.
It's definitely going slower than I thought it was going to. They edited a lot of this out, especially with you guys talking over it.
Just put it on silent.
All right, guys, as you can see, we've got it down there. A little bit of a clearance issue here. So we're going to try to finagle it in there. All right, guys, took a little finagling, but we finally got it on there. Now it's time to bolt it in. All right, guys, and I didn't mention it before, but some of the fasteners in that rear end were studs coming out of the housing, which made it fairly easy to line the thing up and slide it on. But the rest of them were bolts that go in, and the threads in the axle housing go all the way through to the oil side. So we're also using a thread sealant on all of those bolts as well, just to make sure that no oil can seep by those and cause an oil leak in the future.
That one ain't gonna. So is that your goal for the day? Is just get this one in?
I'd like to get them both in if we can.
Did you count how many they were? Were there 10? I think there's more than 10 actually.
All right, guys, getting ready to throw the driver's side axle in. So I've got my sealant on the flange, obviously after we've cleaned it. And I meant to bring some grease from the house to do the splines, but I forgot. So we are going to use some Amsoil V-twin transmission fluid first, because this is a heavy duty gear oil. It should add sufficient lubrication to slide that in. And it will also mix well with the Amsoil 7590 severe gear fluid that we're going to be using in this rear end. All right, we got the rear end chunk torqued down properly to the housing. So now we're going to slide that axle in. Talon's getting ready to do that now. Now Gabe's going to throw this side in. Just watch your fingers get the sealant there. They're a little bit tricky to line up. You got to get that other end up.
What's that?
Oh, you know what I just thought of? It's going to be really hard for you to rotate this one, because now that the other one's in and it's on the ground, the differential doesn't want to roll. So we got to jack the back of the truck up.
Let's turn. Oh, no, you can't because it's.
Actually, you might be able to. All right, yeah. All right, so you line that up while Talon turns that. All right, Talon, you're close, so stop. All right, Gabe, go ahead and try to slide it in. Talon, just wiggle it, because he had it going in, but. This would have that slightly boogered spline, so.
Oh, that was the other one.
This one did too, we saw. All right, guys, the second drive is officially in and installed. Now I put the old vent back in the top, but I just finger tightened it in there just to cover the hole and stop debris from getting in. I did buy a new vent for it. However, I don't want the new one in yet because we're going to paint all this. So then after it's painted, I'll swap it out with a new vent, just because it'll look cleaner and nicer that way rather than everything being painted. Same thing with the temperature sensor. So all that stuff is going to get replaced with new, but I don't have the new temperature sensors here yet. So the differential is in. No, it's not ready to roll down the road. So now we still got to get the front one installed. And unfortunately, we don't have it here with us. It's at the house still, up on that bench where we were working on it. Because of their sizes, I couldn't fit both of them in the Excursion at the same time. So we decided to go ahead and put this one in here because I had it in the truck from when I brought it back from Asheville. And unfortunately, it's a little bit after 4 o'clock now, or close to 4 o'clock, something like that. Sun's already starting to get low, and there is a threat of rain coming shortly. So I don't think we're going to get the other drive installed today, because by the time we get this stuff cleaned up, get home, get it loaded, it's going to be almost dark, and I really don't want to be out here in the dark, in the rain, trying to do this. So Talon has another short day tomorrow, and with any luck, we can get it all installed tomorrow. I think Gabe's having fun hanging out with us, working as well. So he's game to do it tomorrow with us. So I think that's the plan. So we're gonna go home tonight, get all this stuff put away, get the other differential loaded into the back of the Excursion. That way, tomorrow we just come up here, get an early start. All right, guys, that was a challenge, but we have the other differential, the front drive unit, in the back of Talon Silverado. Turns out that was gonna be easier than trying to get it in the back of the Excursion from where we headed up on the bench. I'll tell you what, with 3 of us, and you can look, Gabe, Talon, and I, none of us are little guys. It took everything all 3 of us had to move that and get it in the truck. So that's going to be it for today. Tomorrow, we'll just leave it in the Silverado and run it up to where the trucks are and do it then. So we'll see you guys in the morning. By the way, that Silverado right there, Talon and I have been talking about possibly doing it as a giveaway truck. Long-term one. If any of you guys watch Just Trucking, kind of like what he did, we also have a 5.3 LS motor sitting over there in the garage that we got just for this truck. The LT motor that's in it, unfortunately, has got a cracked block, so we can't run it for very long. So even tomorrow, we'll have to make sure it's full of water. If we can get it the 2 miles up the road before it overheats, and then it'll sit there long enough, we'll fill it up with water again and get it back here. So Talon has done a lot of work to that truck. All new suspension, new tires. He's just done a lot. I mean, every ball joint, spindle, I mean, the whole 9 yards, he did it. When he first got the truck at 35 mile an hour, it just started shaking so bad you couldn't hardly keep it on the road. And I don't mean like a little wobble. I mean like death wobble shake at 35 mile an hour. That's all fixed now, but then the block cracked. So we got the new engine, and one of these days, that might be a new project. All right, guys, we are back. It's the next morning, and we're going to get this differential put into Project Kenworth. All right, guys, I just lied to you there. It is not the next morning. It's been like 3.5 weeks. A lot of crap has happened between then and now. Poor weather, poor scheduling, and it looks like just about everybody in the family probably got COVID. So although we intended on coming up the next day to put that other differential in, it just didn't happen. So this is the first chance we've had with a nice weather day. As you see, the skies are nice and clear behind us, and the temperature isn't freezing. It's like high 40s, maybe 50 degrees or so. In the sun, feels pretty good. A little breezy, but we can deal with that. So all right, so we're gonna
right at the wrong time.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but Zach just did a backflip off of the back of the truck, and well, now he's laying on the ground.
I think my ass.
Do it again.
That hurt so bad.
Do one more
My
try.
pants fell and
The Amsoil Adam Extreme Bikes and Gymnastics channel. At this point, I don't have to tell you, Zach is helping us with the install today, just because a third pair of hands would be kind of easy. Gabe was going to help us, but obviously Gabriel and Michelle have gone home. So let's stop talking and let's get to putting this thing in. Now, this one is going to be a little bit more challenging. Obviously, with this being the front differential, it's a lot larger. We've got the whole power divider assembly on there, so there's a lot more mass and a lot more weight involved. The space we have to put it in is not exactly conducive to fitting something that large. So we're gonna have to tie these hoses up and out of the way and try to weasel it in there. All right, guys, yeah, it's proven to be quite the challenge to get it down in here in the hole. Not a lot of room to work with. Up in the frame rail there, Just trying to get the angle right so we can drop it and reposition it. All right, guys, it's been quite the challenge. But as you can see, we've got the differential sitting down there in the hole, got it held up by straps. We've also got the jack underneath it down there. It is not exactly lined up. However, it is to a point where we are ready to get our right stuff sealant out and go ahead and get our sealant on the mating surfaces so that once we get it moved back, we got a bracket down here we got to clear. So as we move it back, we'll be able to straighten it out a little bit more. Might have to clock it just a little bit to get it to line up with the guide studs. And then at that point, I want to make sure the sealant's there. That way everything just bolts together and we will be just about finished. So we're going to do that. Well, guys, got a little bit of bad news. Remember a few videos back, I went and bought this stuff that we call great stuff or right stuff. Let's go to right stuff. It's that sealant that I use. Well, one of the ones that I bought that was the caulking gun type style, we went to go use it. So we've got the rear end, kind of the differential housing in place, but move forward. So I wanted to put the sealant on there. That way we can just back it right up into the housing and torque everything down. Well, as I went to go load that into the caulk gun and try to use it, the entire tube was completely solid within the caulking tube. I actually cut the outside open with a razor and the whole thing is solid all the way through. So now, on a Sunday afternoon, when we're racing the sun going down to try to get this done, I've got to run into town and get some more. All right, guys, so you can see here what I was talking about that right stuff. Look, I cut it open. It is completely solid all the way in there. It's a shame. So I went to the store and I got some more. Took some precious time out of the day, but got another one of the metal cans with the dispenser on it. So we're gonna use this and go ahead and get that sealant on it. All right, guys, success. We have the differential into the differential housing, lined up with at least 3 bolts. So now we just gotta get the rest of them cleaned up and put in. All right, getting the bolts all cleaned up, putting the thread sealant on, and Talon is installing them so we can get them all torqued down. Now that run to the store slowed me down a little bit. That sun's coming down pretty quick, temperature's starting to drop. Once this is torqued, we still got to slide the axles in place and get them sealed up as well. So still got a lot to do and not a lot of time to do it in. So we'll get back to it. All right, guys, the differentials are in, the yokes are in place, all the seals are in place, axles are in and torqued. So all that's left now to make this thing drivable is to hook up the drive shafts, but we're running out of light, so we're not gonna mess with that right now. Also because I bought brand new universal joints to put into the drive line as well. That way this whole drive line is pretty much set to go. So I think that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. And until the next time I see you guys, keep those engines running.